Alright, hello, citizens of the Nigelverse. It's Nigel here once again, and this is going to be another wrestling review. So, over this past weekend, and it was, technically Valentine's Day was on Friday, but I know a lot of people celebrated even after that. So, Valentine's Day was on Friday. A lot of people celebrated love and happiness and relationships and stuff like that, but NXT was instead celebrating a different kind of day. Vengeance Day. It's time to look at NXT Vengeance Day from this past Saturday. I, of course, as always, am not a professional. I'm not a professional wrestling reviewer or analyst or anything like that. Just a man who enjoys a good time, and I definitely had a pretty fun time with this show. Some pretty solid stuff, some pretty solid action on the show. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, if you've seen these reviews of mine before, you kind of already know how this works. If you haven't, I'm going to be talking about what I liked and disliked about each match, and we're going to go match by match. And flubs like that will probably be, it will probably come up quite a bit, unfortunately. I feel like every time it gets kind of later in the night, my brain and my mouth pretty much turn essentially into mush. But nevertheless, let's get right into it. So, first off, to start off the show, we have the NXT Women's North American Championship match as Stephanie McCare seeks to take the NXT Women's North American Championship from Fallon Henley, who, of course, is accompanied by JC Jane and Jasmine Nix of Fatal Influence. So, Stephanie McCare won a battle royal on, I believe, New Year's Evil, and actually it was a Fatal 4-Way, I should say, and my apologies. So she won Fatal 4-Way at New Year's Evil, and it's essentially been coming for Fatal Influence as of late, and coming after the title, of course. Will Fatal Influence be able to withstand the Dark Angel that is Stephanie McCare? And is it almost a foregone conclusion because of how much billing Stephanie McCare is getting? Well, the answers to those are no and yes, respectively. Stephanie McCare is the new NXT Women's North American Champion, and a pretty fun opener, pretty solid way to open up the show. The crowd was definitely hot for McCare, even from the bell they were chanting for her very fantastic dive onto all three members of Fatal Influence. And so we did see, of course, the trademark interference from them, which did get a little grating at times. I feel like there was a little too much interference, and I almost said a little too much influence, but a little too much interference for my liking. But Stephanie McCare obviously overcame it. But someone who couldn't overcome their inner dialogue was friggin' Booker T, because he popped when Stephanie McCare did the slams into the mat on Fallon Henley. Booker T never change. But nevertheless, as Stephanie McCare ultimately picking up the win and first hitting Fallon Henley with the I forget the move's name. Anyway, I told you my brain turns to mush, but hit her with the move and nailed the spiral tap. Which her utilizing the spiral tap, she has a pretty solid one. I thought Wesley's was really good, and Tyler Bate has a nice one as well. But Stephanie McCare with a solid spiral tap in order to pick up the win and becoming it said on commentary she was the first South American born champion in WWE. It turns out she's actually the second, because Ezekiel Jackson was as a champion in WWE. So, not quite, but first South American born NXT Women's North American Champion. And so, her finally getting her moment here, or at least for the time being. I think she's probably going to be, I'm sure she'll be NXT Women's Champion in the near future, but for now, having her with the women's mid-card title in NXT is pretty cool. So, can't wait to see what she does, but she's not done on the night yet. He pretty much says that she's still gonna stick around to watch the main event, so we'll see what effect she has, if any, on the main event, and that being the Fatal 4-Way for the NXT Women's Championship. Which I am not against that one main eventing, like especially with the women now getting more of that spotlight. And NXT, them really hyping up the women's division. It's really awesome to see them main eventing shows like this, and I think it's definitely important. But nevertheless, as next up for the NXT Tag Team Championship, it's Nathan Frazier and Fraxium, if you will, defend against Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura. So I do have to see how this came about. Okay, so they kind of give a backstory as to Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura teaming up and they did earn the shot there we go. Oh yeah, so it was a triple threat tag team match. Yes, that's right. Alright, so they beat Hank Waller, Take Ledger, and No Quarter Hatch Crew to get this match here. And this match, I'm not gonna lie, this match was a lot of fun. Like, I feel like on these shows, Nathan Frazier and Axiom rarely disappoint, and this one was no exception. And a lot of fast-paced, really fun action between both teams. Really, he not as familiar with Yoshiki Inamura, so getting to see him and what he's all about was pretty cool. And Nathan Frazier and Axiom, their usual fast-paced, fun action, and a lot of people speculated now that Seth Rollins kind of let it slip. I saw like a report earlier that Seth Rollins is going to be in kind of a management position or in some sort of development position, which it definitely makes sense. But because he's been there for quite a bit and everything, but a lot of people speculated whether or not Nathan Frazier is going to get even bigger of a push, and he very well might, but it's not like he hasn't earned it. But yeah, this match was a lot of fun, and ultimately Fraxium picking up the win, and so the good times are keeping on rolling. They're staying with the tag titles. Now, I predicted they would lose in my predictions. If you saw the community tabs, if not, definitely check those out. But I'm not upset to be wrong. Because they have been doing fantastic. But wait, they are attacked by the mystery stable that doesn't quite have a name yet, but they're attacked by them. That being Dion Lennox, Cutler James, Shaquan Sugars, and Osiris Griffin, and so they attacked both Fraxium and Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura. Attack them. They have the mask. They have the shield mask. As now, at first I was like, just the masks. Doesn't make them shield masks. Like, just having like the skull masks doesn't make them shield masks. And then they did the variation of the triple power. Or actually, I don't think that was until the NXT title match they did it to Obafemi, but I might as well mention it here. Then they did the triple powerbomb spot, and I was like, okay, hey, never mind. I've been silenced. Them throwing Oba into it like had kind of the launch up and then bring him down. Kind of makes it like the triple powerbomb person. Mix of that, and then what the Spirit Squad used to do, where they throw their opponents up in the air. Not gonna lie, for as goofy as a team as Spirit Squad was, kind of an underrated move in my opinion. I want to see more teams do that, but that was kind of cool, kind of a variation of the triple power bomb, except there's 4 of them, so I guess they gotta do something. But they have made their impact. Although I will mention it now, why have them in 2 segments? Like having them attack Obafemi in the NXT title match, after the NXT title match, having them attack him right after they attacked Fraxium was a little bit strange. I think you probably could have cut this one and just have them go after her Obafemi. Yeah, I think would have made an even bigger impact. It's kind of weird. Like, oh, we saw these guys. Oh, they're gone. Oh, there's the guys again. And like, hey, your point is made. And they kind of did the same thing they did when they attacked Fraxium and Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura. So, So kind of weird in that regard, but nevertheless, the statement has been made. I want to see where this team continues to go. We'll see who kind of takes what position, and because if you remember the Shields dynamic, Dean Ambrose, at least at first, was kind of like that de facto leader, and then Seth and Roman were kind of like the tag team. So I want to see what dynamic this faction will be, as well as what their name is. And speaking of which, speaking of names, what will Ricky Stark's name be? Well, we know it's not going to be Osiris Griffin, unless Ricky Starks pulled double duty as was one of the people in the mask. Obviously, he wasn't. That was a joke. But Ricky Starks is signing his contract. A lot of people people are a little bit concerned because they still haven't said his name. And I'm not talking Destiny's Child style, or but the fact that they haven't said what his name's gonna be, even though a lot of people are assuming it's probably still gonna be Ricky Starks, but the fact that they haven't said his name, they kind of just refer to him and the moment of him showing up without actually referring to him by name, unlike what and that might be, some might see that as kind of an over exaggeration, but that's what they did for Ethan Page. Like, as soon as he came up, he was immediately named Ethan Page. As soon as Sean Spears showed up, he was immediately named Sean Spears. Brian Pillman Jr. Was then renamed Lexus King, but he did that in the promos in between. So what fate will befall Ricky Starks? If you're gonna give him a WWE inspired name, just let it be a good one, please. But nevertheless, next up, in a strap match, Eddie Thorpe takes on Trick Williams. Eddie Thorpe says he no longer respects Trick Williams. Trick Williams used to be a man of the people, but now that he's gotten over with the audience, that makes him bad? Okay. And saying Trick Williams has been handed several opportunities. He's, I guess, kind of forgetting the in-between stuff where Trick Williams had to literally fight in each match to earn those opportunities, such as winning the Iron Survivor Challenge, or he did kind of complain when he battled Ethan Page, but ultimately did get his match against Ethan Page. But Eddie Thorpe pretty much wants to usurp Trick Williams and no longer wants people to remember his name, but instead remember the name of Eddie Thorpe, and is invoking the name of the strap match, which they tied it into one of his idols, that being Chief Wahoo McDaniel. Also, now we got the strap match here. These two have been gunning at each other for quite a bit, especially with Eddie Thorpe being in the NXT title picture, including the triple threat that they had between himself, Trick Williams, and Obafemi, or the triple threat that they would have had Eddie Thorpe not been injured. So these two have been gunning at each other, and now it has come down to this in the strap match here. This match was pretty fun. So some nasty shots with the strap. Have somebody point this out, and I think in this match I kind of noticed it. And then when you go back, Trick Williams is kind of what they call. I do think Trick Williams is kind of a mirror superstar, or what his opponent gives, he kind of matches. Now that's not always a bad thing. And sometimes when you can match up with your opponent and match up with kind of their stamina and kind of what they're doing pace wise and everything. I don't think that's always a bad thing. And I think that was kind of the case here. And the strap have kind of added to had that extra level to it. But ultimately, Trick Williams coming up short against Eddie Thorpe here, which they are treating as kind of an upset win, and I do think it kind of is. But I guess that means that they're gonna continue the feud between Eddie and Trick for now. But not a bad match, and strap matches. I feel like I haven't seen too many like bad strap matches, but the ones I've seen, you kind of get out what you put in, essentially, and I think these two did relatively well. But next up, Ethan Page. All Ego Ethan Page battles the young OG Javon Evans. So these two have been gunning at each other for a while. Well, kind of in a way stemming back to who, when Ethan Page was NXT champion, or when both of them were pursuing the NXT championship when Trick Williams was NXT champion. But essentially, Ethan Page has lost his smile, that very, very cheesy, goofy smile that he does. As when he comes out, he hasn't done it anymore. He didn't even do it when he came out for this match, but it has been going for Javon Evans. Broke his jaw. Javon kind of returning the favor. So Javon technically wasn't 100% cleared, but he said he wanted Ethan Page. Ava made him sign pretty much made him sign a waiver, or saying that NXT and by an extent WWE cannot be held legally responsible for what happens in this match. I would suggest, as if you're gonna do that, probably do the unsanctioned route, but it looks like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn have already fulfilled that. Kind of caught some of the Raw highlights, and Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens unsanctioned match, Elimination Chamber. Let's freaking go. But nevertheless, so it's led to this match here and it's speculating whether or not Javon Evans' emotions will get the best of him, and will Ethan Page capitalize on it, because Ethan Page kind of plays on people's emotions, them being very upset and very angry. Ethan Page using that to his advantage, being very smart in that regard. And Ethan Page kind of going the lost everything, rebuilding, kind of going off the deep end route has been pretty interesting to see, all things considered, and to see it in this match, especially with that it's kind of giving it that fight feel in this match. Javon still doing a lot of high flying stuff. You're not really gonna take that away from the bouncy one, but to see it kind of have that fight feel, I think was a very nice choice for this match. Ultimately, Ethan Page is able to pick up the win. Has break Javon's jaw again, and after Javon takes out the mouthpiece that he has, and not quite the peak angle mouthpiece, but taking out the mouthpiece that he has. But Ethan Page essentially makes him pay for it, breaking his jaw. This match was pretty solid. I wonder if this will lead to a rematch between the two later on. But yeah, this match was still pretty good there, and Ethan Page picks up the win, and has essentially regained his smile by taking away Evans' smile. But next up, and of course the irony, whether intentional or not, of the brand being run by Shawn Michaels having somebody lose their smile is not lost on me. But next up, for the NXT Championship in triple threat action, the ruler Obafemi battles both Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. That's right, A-Town Down Under implodes. Or do they? Because both have challenged Obafemi. They've kind of teased at the split between Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. Them not even coming out together. They walked together at first, but then Austin Theory came out alone. Then Grayson Waller came out alone. They're having a little bit of a tiff. They're kind of infighting a little bit. This match was pretty fun. They kind of built up kind of the tension of will Austin Theory and Grayson Waller fight, but I do wish they capitalized on it a little bit more. They did have them team up a little bit and kind of gang up on Obafemi at times, which I think was kind of a given, and I don't necessarily mind it. But I do wish there was a little more interaction between Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, or like battling each other. Now, I imagine that was more likely on purpose. They were more likely having them hold back from actually fighting each other, because I guess it fits the narrative of the story they're trying to tell in the match, that being A-Town Down Under not really wanting to fight each other, but ultimately it does cost him a huge elbow drop by Grayson to Oba through the table off of Austin Theory's directive. Austin Theory not quite as bad an influence as whenever Matt Hardy tells Jeff Hardy to dive off of high stuff, but he's almost up there. But nevertheless, has Oba ultimately putting putting both away. Hey, more so, Austin Theory after Grayson accidentally nailing the roll through stunner on Austin Theory when he meant to hit Grayson Waller, and actually it was Obafemi putting Grayson Waller down with at the fall from Grace. Grayson eased the pin there, and you do have moments where Austin and Grayson kind of cause each other the match, and like I said, I get where they're going, but it was kind of weird because have they forgotten it's triple threat? Have they forgotten it's technically every man for themselves? So them not quite wanting to go after each other is kind of the story thread, but it did come off a little weird. I think it was something that looked one way on paper, but then in execution looked a little bit different. But nevertheless, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller both come up short. And then, of course, the aforementioned attack from the unnamed stable on Obafemi, the champion. So Obafemi is still your NXT champion. And as for where things will unfold between Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, we'll have to wait and see. And we'll wait and see what Obafemi does when it comes time for Stand and Deliver. But honestly, in your main event, in Fatal 4-Way action for the NXT Women's Championship, Julia defends against Bayley, Roxanne Perez, and Cora Jade. So, kind of multiple stories he's converging on one. Roxanne Perez lost the NXT Women's Championship to Julia back at New Year's Evil. Bayley and Roxanne Perez have been having their feud, and Roxanne accidentally he said some things that set off Cora Jade. So now all four of these women are going after each other. Roxanne also saying that Bayley's just going after the NXT Women's Championship. She's back in NXT just to go after the championship, and Corey Graves also mentioning which I do have to mention, and the commentary team is all three of the NXT commentators, that being Corey Graves, Vic Joseph, and Booker T. Them as a three-man commentary team admittedly was not bad. I've seen worse trios, but this one was alright. But Corey bringing up why is Bayley getting this opportunity after she's been a Triple Crown champion, has already been NXT Women's Champion, and you know what? That's kind of a good point. But nevertheless, she is here. All four here. They're duking it out. This match was pretty fun as well. Not pretty solid in main event between the NXT Championship and the NXT Women's Championship. I think I gotta go with the women on this one. They did really well. And WWE/NXT kind of getting away with telling the same story twice. That being the tag team partners and friends that are going after each other, all in the name of gold. Whereas with Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, they didn't really want to go after each other. But Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade, on the other hand, said to hell with that and went after each other as well in the match. Had some spots between all four women, which was pretty cool. Ultimately, Julia nailing the Arrivederci knee. I believe it was Cora that ate the pin, if I'm not mistaken. And Julia picks up the win and is still your NXT Women's Champion. I think all four ladies did really well. Some kind of rough looking moments, but they were able to recover. But then Stephanie Vaquera comes out. She kind of confronts Julia in a way, holding up her championship, and Julia holding up her championship as well. So both ladies holding up their championships. Excuse me. And then Jordynne Grace shows up. The Juggernaut is in NXT. Yeah, she kind of shows up to confront both of them as the show wraps up. And of course, yes, they did it after little credits at the bottom of the screen. They love doing that in NXT. They did that last year. Ironically, they also did that last year on Vengeance Day when Carmelo Hayes turned out Trick Williams. They love doing that. And granted, it's definitely not always a bad thing. It always leads to some pretty cool moments, but I guess it just goes to show, don't trust everything that you see. But so it looks like Jordynne Grace is going to be on the NXT brand, which a lot of people had speculated she would be. A lot of people did want her to be on the main roster. Me, I'm of the belief that while I think her being on the main roster wouldn't be a bad thing, I get why she's in NXT to kind of get her feet wet and to really help reinforce the NXT women's division because that's getting a lot of focus. So having Jordan Grace kind of in that mix is pretty cool as well. The only thing is I don't want her to get lost in the shuffle. Well, there's already, and people have pointed this out, with the focus on these women in particular, that being Julia, Stephanie Becker, Zarya, and now Jordan Grace. There's several others that are kind of getting lost in the shuffle potentially, but hopefully everybody kind of rotates in. Now Roxanne may be on her way on her way up to the main roster, but yeah. So pretty fun way to end off what was a pretty solid show, I must say. In terms of the strongest and weakest matches of the night, the strongest, definitely the tag team title match. That match was a lot of fun. The main event was pretty cool as well as the NXT Championship match, but that tag title match was a lot of fun. Even despite being the shortest match of the night, they went pillar to post and put on a really fun match there. And in terms of the weakest, maybe the strap match, but that's more so just compared to everything else. But nevertheless, that's going to do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and turn on those post notifications. So you never miss an upload. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts on NXT Vengeance Day and my review. Did you like Vengeance Day? Did you like my review of Vengeance Day? Let me know. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Peace.